We're going to focus on a manufacturing environment in the process costing system, and it's important to understand the flow of manufacturing costs. You know that manufacturing costs are made up of direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Direct materials, which include raw materials, are the physical materials and supplies which can be physically and directly traced to the production of a product. There may also be indirect materials, materials and supplies that either can't be directly traced or whose value is so small that it's not worth tracing. Indirect materials are part of the third category of manufacturing costs, manufacturing overhead. Direct labor is the second category, made up of the cost of labor, which can be directly traced to the production of a product. These are often called touch costs because the direct labor touches the product when it's being produced. Similar to indirect materials, indirect labor either cannot be directly traced to the product or the cost is too small and it's not worth tracing. Indirect labor is also part of manufacturing overhead, the third category of manufacturing costs. The third and last category of manufacturing costs is manufacturing overhead, which is made up of the manufacturing costs which are indirectly associated with producing a product. But these costs must be included because without these costs, you wouldn't be able to produce the product. This would include costs such as indirect materials, indirect labor, depreciation on factory buildings and equipment, insurance on the factory, property taxes incurred on the factory, cost of maintaining the factory facilities, and any other indirect costs which are caused by the manufacturing process but are not direct costs. It's important to not only understand the manufacturing costs, but also understand how they flow through the organization and that organization's accounting records. The best way to understand this is to use a step-by-step example. Chips Inc. is a manufacturing company which produces private label potato chips. Manufacturing consists of two processes, baking and packaging. In the baking department, the raw materials, such as potatoes and oil, are used to bake the chips. In the packaging department, the chips are placed in bags and then packaged into boxes for shipping. We're going to use the regular accounts that we use for job order costing, but note that there will be separate work-in-process inventory accounts for each process, one for baking, one for packaging. There are no opening balances, as there usually would be in process costing, but this is just to simplify the example showing the flow of costs. Each T account will be populated as we move through the example. Note that each process has its own direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead costs, but we will track all of these costs through one joint raw material inventory, factory labor, and manufacturing overhead account. Note also that once the baking process is complete, all costs from the work-in-process inventory baking will be transferred to the next process, which, in this case, is the work-in-process packaging department. Once the packaging department has completed their process, they will transfer all the cost to finished goods inventory. And once the product is sold, the cost will be transferred from finished goods inventory to the cost of goods sold account. Let's go back to our example of Chips Inc. At the beginning of the year, the company's purchasing department purchases, on account, $116,000 of raw materials. These raw materials are for both baking and packaging. The entry to record this purchase is a debit to raw material and a credit to accounts payable for $116,000. We would then record this purchase in the T accounts as a debit to raw materials inventory. Note that I would also record this in the company's accounts payable T account as a credit to accounts payable, but I'm going to focus on the flow of manufacturing costs and therefore ignore any accounts which are not directly connected to those manufacturing costs. The baking department requisitions $58,000 and the packaging department requisitions $23,000 of raw materials for use in production. Assume all raw materials are directly traceable to the departments. Note that for both departments, the raw materials are added at the beginning of the production process. However, it is possible that raw materials are added at different points in the production process for other manufacturing companies. Remember that work-in-process inventory is sometimes called work-in-progress inventory, or WIP for short. It is the total cost of all unfinished products, products which are currently moving through the manufacturing process. It's accounted for as a current asset account on the balance sheet. This is where the company accumulates all of the manufacturing costs for products which are currently being manufactured. Recording this transaction, we would debit work-in-process inventory baking for direct materials of $58,000. We would also debit work-in-process inventory packaging for $23,000. Finally, we would credit raw materials inventory for the total amount of raw materials transferred into production, $81,000. In the T accounts, we need to enter a credit to the raw materials inventory of $81,000 and show that these costs have been moved to work-in-process baking, debit of $58,000, and work-in-process packaging, a debit of $23,000. The payroll department at CHIPS Inc. determines that workers have earned a total of $20,000 in wages for the period. Workers are paid in cash. The entry to record this would be a debit to factory labor of $20,000 and a credit to cash of $20,000. Again, we're only tracking the T accounts for those accounts which are part of the manufacturing costs. Therefore, we enter a debit into factory labor of $20,000, our temporary holding account. Management at CHIPS Inc. determines that the baking department incurs factory labor charges of $10,700 and the packaging department incurs $9,300. Recording this transaction, we would debit work-in-process inventory baking for direct labor of $10,700. We would also debit work-in-process inventory packaging for $9,300. Finally, we would credit factory labor for a total amount of labor used in production, $20,000. Flowing this through the T accounts, we debit work-in-process baking, $10,700, debit work-in-process packaging, $9,300, and credit factory labor for the full $20,000. Note that the balance in the factory labor account is now zero. That's because factory labor is simply a holding account used until we can determine the division of labor between the departments. The company incurs the following costs: utilities of $23,000, factory insurance $18,000, depreciation on the factory building and equipment $46,000, supervisor salary $14,000, and property taxes $17,000. All of these costs relate to overhead because they are indirect. How are they recorded in the accounting system? First, we would debit the manufacturing overhead account for the actual manufacturing overhead, $118,000. Then we need to credit the following: utilities payable, $23,000, prepaid insurance, $18,000, accumulated depreciation, $46,000, wages payable, $14,000, property taxes payable, $17,000. Note what we have not used: expense accounts. Often students charge all of these amounts to expense accounts, but these indirect costs are inventoriable, meaning they are product costs which must be reflected eventually in the finished goods inventory on the balance sheet. That is why they are placed in the manufacturing overhead holding account until they are used in production. Remember that manufacturing overhead is a temporary asset account on the balance sheet, which by the end of the year will be equal to zero. Note also that had we paid these amounts in cash, then our entry would have reflected cash instead of the accounts payable accounts we did use. Be sure to read the information in any question carefully so you know which it should be, payable or cash. However, note that the prepaid insurance and the accumulated depreciation will always be used. Going back to our original entry, we need to flow this entry through the T accounts. Again, we are only tracking our manufacturing accounts. Therefore, the only update we have is a debit of $118,000 to the manufacturing overhead account. Note that we now have $118,000 in our manufacturing overhead account. These costs are all indirect. These manufacturing overhead costs relate to the whole production process. Since we can't trace these costs directly to any particular process, we have to assign manufacturing overhead to jobs using an estimate. To do this, we calculate and use a predetermined overhead rate, which we calculate using estimates at the start of the year. We take the estimated annual overhead costs and divide it by the estimated annual operating activity. Remember from our job order costing that the operating activity is the activity that drives costs, causes them to happen or change. A major driver of overhead costs in process costing is machine time used, which is machine hours. This is the most widely used driver in process costing to assign manufacturing costs. Once we have calculated the predetermined overhead rate, we multiply it by the actual machine hours used by each department to determine the overhead to assign in the process costing system to each department or process. Assume that, based on actual machine hours, management assigns overhead of $70,800 to the baking department and $47,200 to the packaging department. The entry to assign overhead to each of the processes would be a debit to work-in-process inventory baking, $70,800, and a debit to work-in-process inventory packaging, $47,200, and finally a credit to manufacturing overhead of $118,000. To update the T accounts, we would debit work-in-process inventory baking, $70,800, debit work-in-process inventory packaging, $47,200, and credit manufacturing overhead for the full amount of $118,000. Manufacturing overhead in this case would be zero at the end of the period. Now, when work-in-process items in baking have received all the necessary inputs, they progress to the next department, packaging. In our example, Chips Inc. needs an entry to record the cost of goods completed and transferred out of the baking department and into the packaging department. Suppose management transfers goods with a recorded cost of $112,000 from the baking to the packaging department. The remaining costs in the baking department's work-in-process account are incomplete. They'll remain in work-in-process baking until they are finished in the next period. The entry to transfer the chips from the baking department to the packaging department would be a debit to work-in-process inventory packaging and a credit to work-in-process inventory baking. Updating the T accounts, debit work-in-process inventory packaging and credit work-in-process inventory baking for $112,000. The $27,500 remaining in the work-in-process inventory baking is the units that have not yet completed the baking process by the end of the period. These will be completed in the upcoming period. Assume that at the end of the period, the packaging department has completed units which total $180,000. The remaining value in the work-in-process inventory packaging account are incomplete units and will be completed in the next period. Since the production process is complete, these products would be transferred to finished goods inventory by debiting that account for $180,000 and crediting work-in-process inventory packaging for the same amount. Updating the T accounts, debit finished goods inventory and credit work-in-process inventory packaging for $180,000. The $11,500 remaining in the work-in-process inventory packaging account are the units that have not yet completed the packaging process by the end of the period. They'll be completed next period. Chips Inc. has sold $135,000 of their finished goods inventory to grocery stores by the end of the period. The entry to record the sale would be a debit to the cost of goods sold and a credit to finished goods inventory for $135,000. This would record the cost of the units sold on the income statement. Updating the T accounts, debit cost of goods sold and credit finished goods inventory $135,000. The $45,000 remaining in the finished goods inventory account are completed units which will be sold next period. The cost of goods sold will appear on the income statement as an expense. That's it for the flow of costs through a process costing system. As always, thanks so much for watching.